Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sticky Chris, and welcome back to the All Things Philly podcast. We're in episode 3, and I have a lot to talk about in this one. So first, I want to talk about the Eagles' divisional round matchup against the New York Giants. So today, the Vikings lost to the Giants in the wild card round, and I predicted that. I had the Giants winning. I am so happy we get to verse the Giants because I want to beat them. I want to beat them in the playoffs so bad. It would be great to beat our rival in the playoffs and see them go down. But it's not going to be that easy of a matchup for the Eagles. The Giants are on fire right now. They had a decent end to the regular season, and they just beat the number 3 seed Vikings to move on in the playoffs. So they're not no easy team that you can just stomp all over. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, they've all been playing really well. So first, can the Eagles stop Daniel Jones? Danny Dimes has been on fire. He had a great game against the Vikings. And my question is, can they stop him? Is the Eagles secondary good enough to hold the Giants receivers? Absolutely, I think so. Darius Slay will lock down any of their receivers. Darius Slay actually had a crucial drop in this game. But he's been playing well. I think Darius Slay is going to have plenty of easy reps against this Giants receiving core because they are not that good. They have one of the worst receiving cores in the NFL, but the Eagles secondary shouldn't have a problem. The thing I'm worried about is their run defense. The Eagles have a known bad run defense, and I'm not sure if they're able to stop Saquon Barkley. Barkley has had a great season. He's probably the front runner for comeback player of the year, and he's been on fire. He had a great wild card round against the Vikings, and the Eagles need to find a way to stop him. They need to apply pressure in their run defense. I would throw Jordan Davis in a lot. Jordan Davis has been great stopping the run this year. The D-line has to be on fire. The linebackers need to fill their gaps, and they need to stop Saquon Barkley if they want to win against the Giants. Because the Giants, they're not an easy team to beat, but we can do it. We are the best team in the NFC, and I believe we're the best team in the NFL. So if we can find a way to stop Daniel Jones, and if we can find a way to stop Saquon Barkley, I think that we're going on to the NFC Championship game. Now, one thing that I know has crossed everybody's mind listening to this podcast is, can Dallas make it past the first round? Dallas is known for being first-round exits, and I find it so funny because I hate the Cowboys. I love making fun of their fans, and every time they make it to the playoffs, they think it's their year. Oh, this is our year. We're going to the Super Bowl, and we're going to win. But no, they always lose in the first round, and it's hilarious. It's always an amazing fashion when they lose in the playoffs. Last year, Dak Prescott sliding with no timeouts in 9 seconds left against the 49ers to lose in the wild card round. That was a stupid decision, and yeah, that's how they were first round exits last year. I can't wait to see how Tom Brady and the Bucs are going to destroy them this year. And that's leading me up to my next point. Is Tom Brady going to play like vintage Tom Brady in this wild card round? He has not had his stellar season that he usually has. He's not been on fire like he usually has. So will he return to his playoff form in this wild card round? I think he is. I think he's going to destroy Dallas. I think the Cowboys are done. The Bucs are going to have a really fun time versus this Cowboys team. Dallas's defense is good, but I really think the Bucs are going to come out of their flunk that they've been in all season. They were 8-9 on the year. They are not good whatsoever. They're not good compared to all these other teams, but I think that they're going to beat Dallas just for the fact that they're versing the Cowboys. They're known to choke. They're known to be chokers. And I know there's not a lot of evidence to support that they're going to lose. You can't just say that they're going to lose because they're known for choking. But this is the Cowboys we're talking about. They always choke, and I believe they're going to choke again. And it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady plays on another level when it comes to the playoffs. He's only ever lost in the wild card round, I believe, once. I think he's only ever been in the wild card round a couple times because he's always made it to the divisional round. So I don't believe that Tom Brady is going to go down in this wild card matchup. The last time he did was again in 2019 against the Titans when he was with the Patriots in his last season. So I don't think he's losing in the wild card round again. I think Tom Brady is coming back to his vintage form and he's going to beat the Cowboys. Now my predictions for the rest of the playoffs I'm going to just say them here. I have the Bucs beating the Cowboys tomorrow night on Monday Night Football in the last of Super Wild Card Weekend. Then I have the Chiefs beating the Jaguars. This is after I have the Bengals winning, by the way. They're playing as I'm recording this. It's 9:07 on Sunday night, and currently the Bengals are leading the Ravens 9-0, so we'll see how that game plays out. But let's just assume the Bengals are going to win this game because that's who I have winning this game, unless the Ravens can come back and beat the Bengals. But I have the Chiefs beating the Jaguars, Bills beating the Bengals. So that's going to set up a Chiefs and Bills AFC Championship game. But let's hop over to the NFC. It's going to set up a 49ers and Buccaneers matchup. I have the 49ers advancing, and I have the Eagles beating the Giants. So that'll set up a 49ers and Eagles NFC Championship game. And then back over to the AFC, I have the Bills beating the Chiefs, which a lot of that might seem surprising because the Chiefs have beat the Bills in the playoffs the last couple of years. But I think the Bills are going to get their revenge this year, and they're going to knock off the Chiefs. That would be in a neutral site. That would be played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, actually, because of what happened to Damar Hamlin, how the Bills-Bengals game had to be postponed and not made up. So that all results in the Bills and Chiefs. If they were to meet in the playoffs, they would play at a neutral site, and it's going to be at the Atlanta Falcons Stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. So I have the Bills winning that matchup. Let's hop back over to the NFC. Eagles are beating the 49ers. It's going to be a very close one. I think it's going to come down to defense. The 49ers are such a good team. I don't think the Eagles are going to be able to walk through them. They are going to have to fight. They're going to have to fight to the death to beat this 49ers team. But I think they can do it with Jalen Hurts and his wheels. Brock Purdy is going to be a tough matchup because he's been playing out of his mind recently. And the 49ers got a stacked team. But I think the Eagles can do it. And then in the Super Bowl, I have the Eagles beating the Bills. Obviously, I'm going to be biased. I'm an Eagles fan. I'm a Philly fan. I'm biased for everything. But I think that this is a great opportunity for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I feel like they can blow through the NFC with this first round seed, with the first seed, with the bye. They're going to blow through these playoffs, and they're going to beat the Bills in the Super Bowl. I have it being a high-scoring game. The Super Bowl is not going to be about defense. I believe it's going to be about high-scoring offense. It might be a similar score to Super Bowl 52 when the Eagles beat the Patriots 41-33. So look out for that. Those are my playoff predictions. So far, I've predicted every game in the wild card, so I'm hoping I can keep these predictions up here in the rest of the rounds. But that's it for my playoff predictions. Now we're going to move over to the NHL with the Flyers winning 7 of their last 8. I am so happy with the Flyers right now. They have won 7 of their last 8. Can they keep winning? They have been on fire recently. They've beaten good teams. They've beaten bad teams. First of all, if you are a mediocre team like the Flyers are, you have to beat the bad teams if you want to improve. You have to beat the bad teams. Like the Phillies, they used to have trouble with that. They couldn't beat teams like the Marlins. They couldn't beat teams like the Rockies, who are awful teams, and that would harm them in the trying to make the playoffs the last couple of years. And this year, the Phillies were able to beat bad teams, and they made it to the playoffs and eventually made the World Series. So the Flyers, if they want to keep winning, they have to beat the bad teams. And it's okay to struggle against the good teams, but recently they haven't been struggling against the good teams. They just beat the Capitals for 2 straight. They won in Philly on Wednesday night, and then, last night they beat them again in Washington. And Washington is the leading wild card team in the Eastern Conference right now. So I believe that the Flyers, they can keep winning if they keep with the same intensity. And another thing I want to talk about, I know I shouldn't be mentioning this because we're talking about the Flyers, but can they sneak into the playoffs? Can the Philadelphia Flyers sneak into the NHL playoffs? At the moment, they're 6 points out of playoff contention. The Islanders currently have 49 points, I believe, and the Flyers have 43. Now, this was unheard of at the beginning of the season. Nobody thought the Flyers were going to be any good, but the Flyers are improving. They are playing with a purpose, and I know a lot of Flyers fans want to tank for Connor Bedard. He is a generational talent in the draft. He's going to go number 1 overall no matter who gets it, but I don't think the Flyers should be tanking to get him. I was never a fan of tanking. I never want to tank. Unless when the Eagles were were out of the playoffs a couple years ago, Doug Peterson's last year, Carson Wentz's last year, their Jalen Hurts came on the team for the first time. That last game, when they were already out there, nothing to play for, I was fine with them playing their backups. I was fine with them not trying and maybe trying to get a higher draft pick. because you could have used that draft pick, and they ended up did. But the Flyers, they still have something to play for this season. I don't care how bad a team is. I think until the season is over, you still have a shot. Until you are eliminated, your team has a shot to do anything. Teams make dramatic comebacks all the time, whether it's a dramatic comeback in a game or a seasonal comeback. Look at the Orioles. They were projected to be one of the worst teams in the MLB last year, and they almost snuck into the playoffs. They were about 5 games out of the playoffs. People thought they were going to win 60 games this year, and they won 82 with a winning record. I don't understand why people want to tank for one player. One player is not going to fix this whole Flyers team. Let's see if we can try to win, and maybe more players would want to come to Philly and want to play for the Flyers. So I don't get why people want to tank, but that's just me wanting to win. I like seeing the Flyers win. Watching hockey in Philadelphia is so much fun, and it's even more fun when we're winning. I'm actually going to go to my first Flyers game in February. I was only ever at Phillies games because the Phillies tickets used to be the only cheap ones, but I'm going to a Flyers game in February, and I cannot wait. I hope we still have something to play for, and I believe we are going to have something to play for, and I cannot wait to go. But moving on from all this playoff talk, let's talk about Samuel Ersson. I love this kid. He is 23 years old. He's our backup goalie. He's backing up Carter Hart, and he has filled in great for Carter Hart. He's 4-0 as a starter, and he's allowed 3 goals in his last 3 games. There's nothing more you could have asked for this guy. He is filled in perfectly. He has defended so many, and the Flyers' defense has been awful pretty much all year, and that's why Carter Hart has been giving up a lot of goals, because the defense around him is so bad, and they've been putting him in bad situations. But Samuel Ersson has been able to work around this bad defense, and he's been able to block so many. He's been saving so many shots, and they've been tough shots. They've been pretty tough shots that he's been saving, and he's just been so consistent. He's been very good, and I think he's going to be a great backup this year for Carter Hart. And maybe as he gets older, he has potential to be something greater than just a backup. But for now, I think he's filling great behind Carter Hart, and I love Samuel Ersson. Now, lastly, I'm going to talk about Jaden Springer. So, Jaden Springer, if you guys don't know, he was our first-round draft pick in the last NBA draft, and so far, he hasn't amounted to much in Philly. Like Tyrese Maxey, he jumped onto the scene much quicker. We're in Tyrese Maxey's 3rd season. We're in Jaden Springer's 2nd season. And we have not really gotten much out of Jaden Springer yet. But he had a really good game last week against the Pistons. He had 10 points in crunch time in like the 4th quarter when we already won the game, and it was useless, so they just put him out there, see what he could do. And he was doing really good. He got 10 points. He was driving to the basket. He was making some plays. And can he become something in Philly? That's what I want to ask you guys. Can he become something in Philly? I've heard rumors where they might trade him along with Furkan Korkmaz to get under the luxury tax, because we don't want to be over the luxury tax. But I don't know if Jaden Springer is going to be something in Philadelphia. I think he has a lot of potential, but is he going to work in Philly? We're in win-now mode. We've been in win-now mode for a couple years now, and he has not shown that he can be that player yet, the player that we need to bring us to the next level. And are they going to try to flip him for somebody who can help us win right now? He seems more of like a development piece right now, so I'm not really sure how that's going to work. So let me know what you guys think about Jaden Springer. And that's going to close us out for episode 3 of the All Things Philly podcast. I want to thank you guys all for listening. This was a fun episode because I was able to talk about the Eagles, Flyers, and Sixers, which I'm glad I get to talk about them. I haven't been able to talk about the Flyers a lot. I haven't been able to talk about the Sixers a lot. And the Eagles playoffs are coming out soon. So I'm really just excited for all things going with Philly sports right now. And I'm glad you guys were able to come along with me and listen to this episode of the podcast. So if you haven't yet, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new episodes of the podcast. Leave a comment of what you want to see next in the podcast, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything else. And I'll see you guys in the All Things Philly podcast, episode number 4. See ya.